Hey, what's goody, Frye gang? 2 weeks ago, exactly 3 days after Side Order had released, there had been some controversy surrounding it, with allegations going around that Side Order plagiarized a song from a smaller musician named Nanays. Now, before we get further into that, I found out about this very recently, in fact, from Vehicle's video that he had just made. I know he's one of the more controversial people in the community, but I quite enjoy his content. Watched this video and wanted to make a video of my own on it to kind of just spread the word about it and talk about it, because I am desperately low on content right now. More attention was brought to this 2 days later when popular Twitch streamer Monica Cineroll had made a tweet about it, saying, "So apparently there's plagiarism in Side Order. That really sucks to see. Link below." And below she links a video by a guy named T-Jams that goes over both of the songs and compares them to each other to see if it was really plagiarized or not. But before we get into that, I will be playing the clip here in full that Nanays had provided, so y'all get basically a sense of what he's talking about. Now, before we get on to the segment from T-Jam's video, Nanays did make a response to all of this, because a lot of the replies in the tweet he made were telling him to sue Nintendo, while others were saying this isn't plagiarism at all. And his take on this is, "I appreciate everyone trying to get me gassed up to take on Goliath. Some key points to consider. 1. Suing sucks and is unfunny. Financial incentive is the only net positive from this outcome if I won," and that is a very massive if that I'll get onto in a minute. 2. Possibly blacklisting from working with studios in the industry. Continues, "The ultimate takeaway for me seeing all of the responses in regard to this Splatoon thing is that, if anything, it's got me hyped to want to work more on music, a feeling that has been pretty destitute for me as of late. Also, don't harass anyone." Now, I'm glad that it has motivated him to continue making music, as motivation is always a very nice thing. As a creator myself, sometimes I just feel very destitute and demotivated, like he says, and then something comes along, pushes me to continue making content. So I know how that feels. And for the two reasons that he mentioned, it's not very financially smart. He'd only really get financial gain from it and possibly be blacklisted from working with other studios in the industry. The third one is that if he did end up suing Nintendo, he would have an absolutely 0% chance of winning that. And I'm not trying to be a defender or pessimistic, I'm just being realistic here. He would have absolutely no chance at suing this multi-trillion-dollar company as a very small creator himself. And I don't want to get too much into all of the legal stuff, since I don't like talking about that, and most of y'all don't care either way. But legal battles like this cost a ton of money, a whole lot of money that Nanays probably doesn't have. He'd have to hire very good lawyers, provide a lot of evidence. Court battles, lawsuits and stuff like this are very lengthy, time consuming, and most importantly, money consuming. Very expensive. And even if he had a chance, he just wouldn't win, considering Nintendo, they probably have the absolute best lawyers they could possibly hire, and the fact that they just have more money than him will almost guarantee that they will win this lawsuit if he ever did. They will not back down from this, which we've seen given how protective they are over their IPs and everything else, and all of the other lawsuits they've been in. They have been very persistent in seeing them all the way through. So Nanays has absolutely no chance in winning a lawsuit, even if he filed one. Now I will show the section of TJam's video, and I will be pulling this part from Frye's video because it's just easier that way. And then I will give my thoughts on whether I think it's plagiarism or not afterwards.
The original track that people are comparing is called Mimiclock, and it's by an artist called Nanays, who produces a lot of tracks of this style. It's kind of like trance. It's like a fusion of like trance music, EDM. People noticed that a specific section of the song called Mimiclock lines up very well with a track from Splatoon 3 that just came out called Echo Onslaught. So I want to show a couple of these similarities. And first, some people noticed in the intro to Echo Onslaught, there is a very similar part to one of Nanays' tracks. So I'm going to play the Echo Onslaught version first, and then I'll play the other one right after. So I wouldn't really consider that the most egregious offense, although the similarity is pretty uncanny there. There's a little bit of difference. I just wanted to show that before I get into the real meat of it. So the other track called Mimiclock contains this section, which I'll play right here. You know, you'll immediately notice there's a lot similar there. Different key, but a lot of the rhythm and the solo part, the synth solo, it sounds very similar. A little bit interesting.
So after hearing all of that, they do sound pretty similar, especially the intros sound almost identical in some of the melody. But my final thoughts is that no, this is not plagiarism. Yes, it sounds very, very similar, but the majority of the songs aren't even the same if you listen to both of them in full. This could very well just be inspiration, but I don't think this would be labeled as plagiarism. And I'm going to play another clip here from Frye's video to better convey what I'm saying.
I personally don't know much about music, especially after last year's Spotify Wrapped, but the tracks just appear to be similar in some aspects. Similarity doesn't always immediately equate to plagiarism. As in both cases TJ has shown, the entirety of both songs don't sound the same, just certain areas have that uncanny resemblance. Not to mention, the melodies aren't the same, the pitch is different, structures deviate, and more. Turns out, the comments also shared a similar sentiment.
I think this falls under the different enough of copyright laws. Even then, there are clear differences between the two clips.
The first part is a huge stretch. The second part, I can kinda hear it.
Listen Nan, with all due respect, none of this falls under plagiarism at all. The chord progressions are significantly different, and the similarity in melodies for a couple of seconds is purely coincidental.
I'm not a lawyer, but this doesn't even come close to plagiarism. I don't even think it's inspiration/interpolation. A lot of these are common chord progressions and melodies.
All in all, I don't think this is plagiarism. They just sound similar, which really isn't too surprising since this happens all the time in music. You can go on YouTube and find dozens and dozens of videos about songs that sound the same or songs that sound exactly alike. This happens all the time, especially since these two songs are both in the same genre of like EDM techno type music, which is not unusual for Splatoon anyway. Splatoon has a wide array of music, especially music that sounds like this. So it's not really too surprising that at some point a Splatoon song is going to sound similar to a different song. Now here, I'm not calling Nanays a liar, and I'm not really defending Nintendo either. I'm just saying I don't think this is plagiarism, and the songs just sound similar. And topics like this are you have to be very careful talking about, because no matter what you say, there are going to be people that get mad at you and come after you. I could say, yes, this is definitely plagiarism, you're so right, and then people would be calling me coming after me, calling me stupid. Or I could say, no, this isn't plagiarism at all. Then people would come after me, calling me Nintendo bootlickers. Like, there's just no winning with this. But overall, I do not think that this is plagiarism at all, just very similar songs. But I do wish Nanays the best in continuing to pursue his music creation, and definitely go support him and check out some of his other music if you are interested. So I don't think he did this for some type of publicity stunt. I'm not giving thoughts on that. I don't think Nintendo is plagiarizing them. All right, they are more than capable enough of creating their own music. They have no reason to go and plagiarize such a smaller creator, anything. So I don't think either side here is really doing one thing or the other. But anyway, that's it. I don't think this is plagiarism. Go show Nanays some support regardless of everything. Please do not harass anybody, as nothing good ever comes out of that. And that is really about it for this video. So see you next mission and play some goddamn Splatty.